my first live music experience, at least a seminal one that really stands in my mind, was in St. John's, Newfoundland, in a little pub called the Fishing Admiral. And my uncle, who was a real rock and roller, this is early 80s, so he was big into the Doors and the Stones and Led Zeppelin and things like that. And so, but he took me out to see blues. He took me out to see Roger House and Scott Gowdy in the Fishing Admiral in downtown Newfoundland on December 30th and 31st, 1983. And it really was one of those transformative moments where I fell in love with a music that I really knew nothing about. In other words, while I might have had Beatles albums and Stones albums and even, as I said, Clapton albums, what I heard, what I saw, what I fell in love with was nothing I was familiar with. I mean, I knew the roots of it, I knew what was around it, I'd heard probably some Allman Brothers and some things like that, but that was way out there, and I fell in love, and I think Roger House became one of my big influences over my first few years in the festival, and really took my love of the blues to a new level as I began to discover things about it. Our earliest thoughts about what we wanted Harvest to be and the things that drove us through those formative years were around the live music experience. And what I mean is that we were looking for acts that really were passionate about their live performance and connected with our audiences. For Harvest, it was seeking out fun, passionate, energetic acts, and really, and I think we prized our small venues. We prized being able to get close to the music, and so it's really been all about the live music experience. And I think that if there's anything that I hope we've done, it's that we've inspired a lot of local musicians to get up close and really see how professionals from all around the world do it. I mean, being involved with Harvest has helped me build some amazing skill sets in the sense of, as we built Harvest, it's become not only a passion, but those of us who've been involved for since the beginning, for 25 to 28 years, it's really been about building a business and then also building a community. One thing we're seeing with harvest is our aging demographic, and I think that that's heavily influenced our musical evolution. And so what I mean by that is that I talk to a lot of people who are now, say, in their late 60s and early 70s, who used to come out for 3 nights and now to the tents and dance away the night up front and really enjoy, a pretty crazy weekend. Now kind of like, can I get a ticket to the Playhouse? Because I just want to sit here and listen to some great music. And so, there's been an evolution, I think, of our demographic needs. And so while we're playing that out, we've been trying to better understand how we can draw in new audiences. There's been a lot more opportunity for our audiences to see live music, and whether it could be Moncton at the Casino or even Bangor and the Darlings Waterfront Pavilion. The desire for harvest to be a special experience here in the community has also driven the evolution of our programming. So it's become more, it's become more popular in the and less bluesy in the sense that we're trying to provide unique opportunities to see acts that you might never see in Atlantic Canada, and certainly never in Fredericton before. So that's had us venture out into the Trey Anastasios and the Nathaniel Ratlifts and the Levon Helms, and acts that we feel fit very comfortably into what's essentially a roots rock blues kind of format. And provide a pretty unique and special kind of happening here in Fredericton. So we're still rooted in the blues. We're still looking for great opportunities to present blues acts in the harvest experience, but at the same time, we're also looking for the John Hyatts and the other acts that have been with us as music fans all of our lives, and if we have an opportunity to present them, we know our audiences would love to see. We always have prized the opportunity to present local musicians in showcases and in new formats and to big audiences. The problem has been, or the challenge has been, at the same time we're trying to present great regional acts, great national acts, and look for other, we get pitched thousands of acts a year. So there's this constant balance of trying to make sure you're reflecting your community, giving folks an opportunity, celebrating what we've got going on here, and also creating something fresh and new. You can see them, and I have. You could see the Allman Brothers 4 nights in a row, and you could even see them play the same song 4 nights in a row, and it's a completely different experience each time. And so I think I was drawn to that as a live music experience, and I think it's influenced harvest programming. But I also think that it's, in the ways that Hot Toddy would improvise and that kind of Joel and Tom's kind of, let's call them their jazz roots, but they're very, very creative improvisational side of things. And they would take that in a more roots blues context and run with it. I found it mesmerizing. I found it beautiful, and I think it has influenced a lot of the New Brunswick and the Fredericton music scene in the sense of people recognizing what they can create when they let it rip, when they let it go. For me, I remember specific evolutionary jumps, right? So the first big evolutionary jump would have been 1994 when we did Waylon Thibodeau, a blues guy from the Deep South, Eddie Kirkland, and Big Sugar. And that was a young Big Sugar. That was 93, 94. That was before the dreadlocks and everything else. They were still starting to get a kind of a national CBC audience. But so that was the first real evolutionary jump. The next big evolutionary jump was, I think, in 2003, and funny enough, it was Big Sugar again, and that was moving to that would have been, I think, our first big rock show. And Big Sugar in the '94 was still a bit of a jazz blues rock band, but by 2003 they'd evolved into something completely different, as we know. But for Harvest, it was the first big show that created a new model for us, and was a kind of the beginning of the festival we are today. It's really helped establish Fredericton as much more of a destination and much more of a music city, as you say. That the way we think about ourselves, the way our musicians think about ourselves, the way Mike Jones' signature sound have evolved. There's a confidence and a professionalism and a beauty to how we do things in Fredericton around music now that I hope Harvest helped influence and kind of build over the years. And certainly when these big acts come to Fredericton, we do our very best to treat them in a different way, but we do our very best to be ourselves at the same time.
And are they drawn to that?
Yeah,
think they would be.
Yeah, we're nobody but ourselves when these guys come. We're just music teachers and accountants and deputy ministers and utility guys and that all come together to kind of put on something that they have a passion for, that they love, that they thrive on the energy of the audience. And so, I think that's what makes it magical.